Hello students. In this video, we will learn about expressions of comparison. Expressions of comparison include A. The same as, different from, like, the same as, and as. B. More than, and than. C. The most and the estate. Please, notice the following use of the same as, and different from. My pencil and your pencil are the same. There is no difference. My pencil is the same as yours. John's coat is large and brown. Paul's coat is small and gray. John's coat is different from Paul's. The same as, and different from, are used to compare two persons, things, places, animals, etc. Different than is sometimes used in place of different from. However, different from is preferred, especially in writing. Exercise 1. For example, my shoes are brown, and size 10, and yours are 2. There is no difference. My shoes are the same as yours. This book is red. It's very small. That one is black. It's big. This book is different from that one. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 2. Make sentences with like. John's coat is similar to Paul's. John's coat is like Paul's. John's new car looks almost the same as Paul's. John's new car looks like Paul's. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Now, notice the use of the same as, and, as. Previous pattern. My pencil is the same as yours. New patterns. My pencil is the same length as yours. My pencil is as long as yours. Please take a note. The same as is used with nouns. As is used with adjectives. Do you see the differences? Good. Illustrative examples. These examples can be used to form 2 or more exercises. This pencil is the same length as the other one. This pencil is as long as the other one. Or, this pencil is as short as the other one. You can continue read the examples by yourself. You can also replace the sentences with the given words in the bracket. Exercise 3. Individually. Bob bought 5 books, and George did 2. Bob bought as many books as George. Bob bought as many as George. Bob had 2 cups of coffee, and George did 2. Bob had as much coffee as George. Bob had as much as George. Bob had as many cups of coffee as George. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 4. Practice the use of as, with adverbs. The sentences in parentheses are alternate cues. John speaks very clearly, but Paul doesn't. John is a very clear speaker, but Paul isn't. Paul doesn't speak as clearly as John. John sings very well, but Paul doesn't. John is a very good singer, but Paul isn't. Paul doesn't sing as well as John. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 5. Idioms. John is quick. A wink is quick. John is as quick as a wink. Our bread is hard. A rock is hard. Our bread is as hard as a rock. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 6. Summary exercise. The same as, and as. For examples. The color of your suit is blue. The color of mine is blue too. Your suit is the same color as mine. The size of your suit is 36, but the size of mine is 40. Your suit isn't the same size as mine. Or, your suit isn't as big as mine. Your books are interesting, and mine are too. Your books are as interesting as mine. John writes carefully, and Mary does too. John writes as carefully as Mary. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 7. Summary exercise. Compare one tree with several other trees. They may be drawn on the blackboard. Use the expressions the same as, and as. Size. This tree is the same size as those. Type. This tree is the same type as those. Big. This tree is as big as those. Tall. This tree is as tall as those. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 8 and 9. Exercise 8. Is George tall? Yes, he is taller than I am. Did George come early? Yes, he came earlier than I did. Did George write carefully? Yes, he wrote more carefully than I did. Exercise 9. This pencil isn't long enough. This picture isn't beautiful enough. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 10. This is a summary exercise. To practice the use of adjectives and adverbs and expressions of comparison. Use as, more than, and than. John is 6 feet tall, but Mary is only 5 feet tall. John is taller than Mary. Alice is very interesting, but her sister isn't. Alice is more interesting than her sister. John is the same height as Paul. John is as tall as Paul. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. Exercise 11 and 12. Exercise 11. Practice the state and most. John is taller than Peter. But George is the tallest. John is more careful than Peter. But George is the most careful. Exercise 12. Than and the most are used also with nouns. Books. Mary has more books than Alice. Helen has the most books. Money. Mary has more money than Alice. Helen has the most money. Now, please do the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing your exercise. We can also use more and most, without a following noun. Alice has a lot of intelligence. Mary has more than Alice. Helen has the most. Less is the opposite of more. Least is the opposite of most. In general, less and least are used with the same words that more and most are used with. Adjective. John and Paul are more careful than George. George is less careful than John and Paul. George is the least careful. Adverb. John and Paul write more carefully than George. George writes less carefully than John and Paul. George writes the least carefully. Non-count noun. John and Paul have more time than George. George has less time than John and Paul. George has the least time. Count noun. Use fewer and the fewest. John and Paul have more books than George. George has fewer books than John and Paul. George has the fewest books. Well done, students. You have finished chapter or lesson 15. I hope you enjoy it, and keep practicing. See you again. Bye.